Alright then. Drakengard 3 is the latest installment to the Drakengard series, and let me tell you, this game is actually pretty cool. It's a perfect blend of satire while still retaining enough emotional heart for a very deep and enriching story. And of course, the most powerful thing about the Drakengard series is its lore, and the fact that you can ride a dragon in it. That's pretty neat.
Sit still, damn it, or I'm gonna...
Let's talk about the gameplay first. Like other installments of the Drakengard series, a lot of the gameplay is inspired by Dynasty Warriors. You know, you have your light attack, your heavy attack, your jump in, your block, and your special attack, but what really mixes up the gameplay a bit is the dash button.
Don't panic! Don't humiliate yourself before Lady 3.
May Lady 3 watch over us always.
And most of the enemies are the perfect blend of just squishy mortals that are just waiting their turn to get sliced in half. And like all the installments before it, all the weapons can be leveled up to level 4, and they all have a very unique backstory per level. And this is where I'm really intrigued about the enriching lore, because they gave every single weapon a backstory. I mean, they tried to shove as much lore and backstory into this game as possible, but this is where it actually stands out, because it proves that there's other events in this universe that are taking place. And it's probably more important or interesting than the personal vendetta that you are going through.
You're still insane.
Stop it, you're embarrassing me.
That wasn't a compliment.
And that sounds like a perfect segue to talk about the story. You play as Zero, a girl who's come back to kill all her sisters to take all their powers for herself. And you are a disgusting human being of all things. Question mark. This story, like all other Drakengard games, is pretty dark, and it's a borderline parody and inversion of what typical fantasy stories are. Because the world of which this takes place is actually pretty impressive of itself. Because in your typical fantasy stories, the goddesses are pure deistic beings who pray nothing but peace and happiness. In this story, the goddesses are kind of a huge detriment to society than they actually are.
Oh, Sent! Sent! Kill them all! Sent, kill them all!
In this universe, the fairies are assholes.
Right, I get it. Stupid. Like you.
Yeah, stupid. Just like, hey, screw you, lady. Dirty little deviant trollop intoner. You go to hell, you hear me? You go to hell and you die!
And really, that's what makes this world so interesting. It's deviating from the typical lore. You know, there's a type of passive-aggressive relationship this entire world has with the human race, and it's really just intriguing to watch take place. But what really sells the franchise are the characters. In a lot of Drakengard games, the characters are just like really out there in terms of their personality and their traits.
Do you have any idea what you're doing?
Well, of course I don't.
You know, in the first game, you kind of got a homicidal maniac, and his sister was kind of in love with her, and also you got to play as a pedophile and a cannibal.
The greatest of beasts.
In Drakengard 3, it's more or less the same thing. You play as a pretty much homicidal woman who's lived her entire life trying to kill everybody that she meets, except for dragons, because she kind of needs the dragons, because, you know, why wouldn't you want a dragon? Then you got her sisters, who are kind of all bitches, who are very extreme personalities of the typical heroine tropes.
Zero, that was wonderful.
And then you have the disciples, all the Intoner's personal assistants. And they all have some wacky personalities and traits that they can bring to the table.
Armoros, uphold!
Honestly, it's just a joy watching all of these characters interact with one another. I mean, some characters interact with most as much as I hope, but the characters that do interact with each other, it's generally fun to watch them go around. It's funny, and sometimes it's intriguing of what they have to say.
Fuck! Watch it, you limp piece of lizard!
And that's what honestly can sell you on this entire game experience, because the gameplay does get a tad bit annoying. Don't get me wrong, the gameplay is fun, but it's just very sticky and unnatural than what you're actually used to in typical games. And a lot of the enemies are kind of overpowered no matter what level you're at, so you never feel like you're actually getting any stronger. And this is on the Unreal Engine, so you're gonna bound to run into some graphical problems eventually, and the developers are proud of this game, the publishers are not. I mean, the fact that it's on the Unreal Engine really should give you that implication. This is Square we're talking about. They have enough money to fund this, but they're not going to give the proper amount of money to actually fund this like they did with Nier and just get a niche audience.
Hands off the flowers.
That's quite the outfit.
However, the developers seem to acknowledge that they weren't going to make the perfect video game that they were intending to make, so they just decided to fall back on making a very entertaining experience.
It's science!
Stop pretending you know what you're talking about, idiot.
I give this game no more than 4 stars, because even though it's obvious that the developers were trying to make this the most entertaining experience, it's not top notch. You know, frustrating enemies are still frustrating to play through. When technical problems occur, boy do they occur. And the combat, like I said before, feels very awkward. And I'm not going to spoil anything for this final boss, but once you get to that final boss, yeah, it's not going to get anything higher than 4 stars. But I really recommend all of you PS3 owners to pick this game up. It's actually a very fun experience. Especially for those of you who want to know what it looks like for a dragon to defecate.
That huge tree in the distance is Lady Three's shrine. To reach it, we must first navigate through the dreaded Lost Forest.
Let's go.
Okay.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, God. Ooh.